Waddle traded to the Broncos. What's it mean for Bo Nix? What's it mean for Malik Willis, the poor sap? Gets his number one target sent off. But the Dolphins have a lot of draft picks. What could they do? It's not easy to overlook what they could potentially build if they did it right. Is Achane on the move? Maybe Devon Achane is going to be sent packing because they're sending everybody off. They're starting over. They're building clean. They're trying to figure out what they want to do for the future, and they're in a building mode, a rebuild. And Achane, while he's still a young man, do you want to reset the mileage and odometer on your running back too if you trade away a wide receiver that you technically could say we could build around this guy for 3-4 more years, and they don't? That is a tone that they're setting within the organization. We're breaking it all down, what it does for the Bronco players, what it might do to A.J. Brown, because he still could be on the move, and this sets the tone for that trade to happen or not happen. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Look, Waddle is a great player. Is he an elite player? No. Has he been overhyped for years? Yes, he has. Does he help Bo Nix and the Broncos maybe become a solidified top 4 or 5 team for next year for this 2026 season upcoming? And it's easy to say, like, oh, yeah, they're number 1, number 2. Like, everyone can make that claim. Bills added DJ Moore. You know, New England, if they add AJB, we'll see if they sit on their hands any longer. But you've got to make that move if you're New England. You can't sit back and watch this happen and unfold over in the AFC. You can't sit here and watch these teams make big moves for wide receivers and you don't do the same move. You have to. You're going to be in checkmate soon. So you got to figure out how to get out of this corner that the Patriots are in. There's so much going on. Wide receiver movement. Then you have the Eagles maybe contemplating whether these teams acquiring these receivers, we can't get rid of one now. That might make them get cold feet. It's so hard to tell what these teams will do. Again, we have no idea how long or how often these teams have been hovering over the button and they've been in dual control with the keys in there and then one of them pulls out. We have no idea. We can sit here and pretend like A.J. Brown's wasn't close to getting traded. We don't know if he was within a millimeter of somebody hitting a button. They were going down. They decided, no, this is a crazy situation. The Dolphins are definitely capable of trading Achane at this point. Let me throw Achane's mug on screen. There's certainly a possibility that he gets moved. It smells like a potential complete rebuild. They're scraping the bottom floor, putting Malik Willis in place. You just got to wonder if the poor kid's going to get broken if he has no weapons. Tutu Atwell, sure, his value goes up, but this is a devastated, ravaged team that if you build around Achane, it could be good from a fantasy perspective if he's the only solid option on the roster. It could be just perfect that Malik Willis is a good enough quarterback, we think, to maybe keep defenses at bay to a degree, but they have to have something. They have to have some weapons to throw to. I do believe they'll draft and approach that. Let's go look at the draft board now that we have an additional pick here for the Dolphins. So the Dolphins are drafting right here at this 30 overall pick now. They have the 11 overall pick. There's a real chance they land one of Mekhi Lemon, Carnell Tate, or Jordan Tyson, and then they kind of reset the wide receiver room. And quite honestly, when you really think about this, your natural reaction is to be like, oh, this is horrible for the Dolphins. But do we want Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson next to Jaylen Waddle? I don't think it would have been necessarily a bad thing. I think that rookie receiver would have taken over as the number one very quickly. But this kind of can be replaced. Now, if you throw one of those wide receivers here, and then you are able to do something massive right here, and you've got all these picks in the first 3 rounds, there's a lot of potential for this team if they kept Achane to actually look pretty good next year in a rebuild sense. Not saying that they're a playoff team by any means, but while everybody's doom and gloom about the Dolphins are trash now, they put Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson on this roster with Malik Willis and Achane, and you tell me, I don't understand why it would be that bad of an outlook for this team walking into 2027 and beyond, and a little bit of 2026 showing us what they can do. It's not a bad, this is certainly a solid thing. No Shot Tate is there at 11, says script stop. It could easily fall to 11. What are you talking about? Tate's 40 time, we know what that means, but some teams react and overreact to that. Tate could easily fall to the 11. Stop with the nonsense. This will be interesting what they do with Achane though, because if they do send Achane packing, the team looks a lot different with one rookie wide receiver. With a rookie wide receiver and Achane and Malik Willis and all these picks, it's not bad. There's a lot of upside here. I would also say that if we were to project some Achane landing spots, I still believe the Chicago Bears quietly are one of those teams that, we could say, how do they keep getting away with this type of, meme and throw out there. This seems like the ideal spot for Devon Achane, at least from, like a coaching perspective. You give Achane to Ben Johnson, he's going completely nuclear. Not that he wouldn't already. If they draft a rookie receiver, they keep Achane. There's still a lot of opportunity for Achane if a Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate is in a Dolphin uniform. Let's see here. Hey, Rome, I could definitely help you out if you don't want to be here. You let me know. Rome, your next words will determine whether you stay or go. So let's see what you say. Dude said no panic on Achane one stream ago. What did I just say right now? That if they draft a rookie wide receiver, I'm not panicked on Achane still. So yeah, dude did say that. But let's see what Rome decides to say. Rome, you let me know. How about Rome, you tell me you want a 24-hour timeout or a forever timeout. You determine your own fate, Rome. If you don't decide within 1 minute, I'll decide for you. Okay, so let's see what Rome chooses. Waddle's value, I don't know if Waddle's value goes up a ton. I do think you put yourself on a better team, and I'm not saying the Dolphins don't have potential future. That I just described why I think this could be with Carnell Tate or with Jordan Tyson. Mind you, that's an important part of this equation. Achane a beast, but that's not answering the question. You got 20 seconds to tell me if you want a 24-hour timeout or a forever timeout. Rome, you let me know. I'm still waiting. Waddle to me is in a good spot, obviously. But look, Sutton's there. Nix is erratic, but in a solid way. Rome says 5-minute timeout. That's not what I asked. It's forever 24. You got 10 seconds. People don't know how to play this game, do they? Literally comes in, pops off, runs his mouth, thinks Smitty's just going to put up with it. I'm going to send you on the forever timeout. 10, 8, 7, 6. Okay. Dude decided his own fate. There he goes. He said 24. Why are you so mad? I was going to give you a 10. Now I'm going to give you a 30 because you decided to pop off again. In your 24 comment. Okay. I'm going to open phone lines in a minute. I'm just going to wrap up and say here that Waddle's value probably goes up because he gets Bo Nix, because he gets a good offense. He gets offenses moving the football down the field, matriculating the football down the field. But this isn't a world where Waddle jumps into the top like 5, 6, 7 wide receivers. You still got Sutton there. You still got a grip of running backs that catch the football. You still got rookie wide receivers that they drafted and are invested in. But Waddle is also not necessarily a spring chicken anymore. He's been awaiting his turn to become an elite wide receiver. I don't think I think he's good. Changing teams for a wide receiver is always tough. It's not always a smooth transition. Sometimes it can be, but it is oftentimes a little bit of a rocky road. He's got to learn this system. He's a veteran. He knows a lot of it, and we'll see how quickly it all translate. But again, Bo Nix is an erratic passer. This is a dynamic situation that he's in for sure. But I don't know that it vaults him into some top 7 or 8, overall situation. I will say that it's crazy when you think about the fact that the Broncos hadn't made a single signing until this move. So the Broncos step into the free agent game in a big way and grab a big name player. It's very good for the Broncos. This is not a negative. Ends up being, a pretty high pick though. So you could argue that it depends who that number 30 overall pick could have been that the Broncos are surrendering here. Because if the right player fell, you could look back and regret this. But I think it makes sense. It's a good move. It's a reminder to the New England Patriots that they must go get A.J. Brown and pay the price. It's a reminder that they need to pick up the phone and initiate an offer that the Jaguars can't refuse for BTJ, who everyone says is not available, but he is at the right price. So, interesting situation. But we'll just leave that for the phone line if you guys want to dial in a second. As far as Achane, I was trying to say before I got rudely interrupted by somebody who put in timeout. Chicago Bears seem like a great landing spot for Achane, a quiet landing spot for Achane, a crafty landing spot for Achane, something that a lot of people necessarily don't see coming. It's a great spot. The Seahawks are very much a team that I think would make a move for Devon Achane. And then everybody says, wow, they're playing 3D chess again. Everybody thought that they were sitting on their hands and they let Walker go. And now they trade for Devon Achane. They've got cap space. They've got picks they could throw around. They're losing players for sure, but this would wipe clean all of the negatives that we've been saying the last month about the Seahawks maybe getting a little worse every week. And not becoming a team that we think, oh, this team's totally stacking and going to run it back. If they get Achane, we're seeing a team that's probably got a really good chance of running it back. These are two very, very intriguing landing spots for Achane and two teams that I think could bring the thunder quietly for an Achane trade. I think, you look at other squads that potentially could. Wouldn't surprise me if, look, we love Tootin. We love him. But we keep saying Tootin's got to escape the NFL draft. He's got to escape the rest of free agency. Jacksonville would be an interesting place for him to go. Looking around the NFL, trying to find and identify the best landing spots. These feel like the one spots where if Achane were to go, it would be crazy. The other one that I think is obvious, even though we don't want it, it's obviously going to be in conversation, would be, Malibu Mike bringing Achane Red Rover style over to his new home. So that's where we would. Carolina, it's definitely a potential landing spot, but I don't want it. I don't think it'll probably be in play, but it certainly is a potential landing spot. Tennessee, you never know what they would be willing to do. We hope they draft Jeremiah Love, so I'm going to take him off the board because I don't know that I see them as a situation. But man, this would Green Bay. I don't think so. Could they? Maybe, but I don't know. They're definitely not trusting Jacobs right now as much as I think people want them to. But yeah, Chargers would be a disaster. But it's something Miami Mike and the Chargers would do. They're definitely capable of that kind of situation. So they're in play. It's not that we want this situation, but they're in play. Seattle, Chicago, Jacksonville would be unbelievable. Don't think for a second Achane's not available. Do I think they'd trade him? In Miami, I don't know. They might come out and tell us we're not trading him. We're building around him and Malik Willis. And I can understand that. So, here, Sprace, you don't have to be here either. How about that? There you go. See you later. All right. Phone lines are open. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Man, what a big piece of news today. And so much more to break down. There's so many things this could lead to. So many things this could lead to. Travis, you're live. Okay, looks like I need to get the speaker. Hold on a second, boys. Bruce, hang tight. Let me get this speaker cooking, and then I'll get you guys both on screen 1 second here. All right, both get you on audio. Let's send my audio over to. There we go. Bruce, just mute yourself real quickly. Travis, you're live.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I think they definitely will take a wide receiver at 11 or 30. Even if ranking, hard to imagine they go into the year with Waddle and Jaylen as their top 2 wide receivers. That's like you gave Malik Willis money. So
Yeah.
get the short-term contract. There's no reason you're just gonna throw it away and not try to keep developing.
Yeah.
While you're building.
And you look at this real quickly, just while you're talking about that. If I say, everyone wants to, I see a lot of crapping on the Dolphins, saying Dolphins are going to be trash. But if they do keep Achane, which if they don't keep Achane, then yes, they're going to be trash. But if you put Waddle here, who I look again, I like Waddle, but Waddle's not a world star. He's not some elite top 5 wide receiver. You put Waddle here, right? You take Waddle off the board. You put, let's call it Tate right here. Does this look different to you? No, it looks better to me. Now, if you put Waddle here as well, it's definitely intriguing wide receiver room. But let's see what they do with this 30 pick and a 3rd rounder, right? It's a 30 and a 3rd rounder, essentially, is the trade, I think. So,
top of the 4th.
Yeah, so 1.30. I mean, it depends what they do with this pick. Again, Waddle is not like such an amazing player to me. This team still looks super scary for the future if they build around it properly. I don't understand why everyone's trashing the Dolphins so much right now.
And moving Waddle for that, I mean, that's a lot for Waddle if you ask me.
Yeah.
That's, like we keep talking about these teams that are rebuilding, selling your pieces at the highest amount. And another thing about Waddle, I don't think people realize it. I didn't even realize it until I looked. He's barely a year younger than AJB. 27.
Yeah. Yeah, Waddle's not. We've been waiting on Waddle for, it seems like, a decade to get an opportunity. Everybody keeps saying he's going to be elite, and then now he's 27. It just all of a sudden he's 27. Like, neither AJ Brown or Waddle have like 5 years left of elite play. We just don't have it, especially because they're both kind of considered injury prone. I think if you're a team that acquires a Waddle, you have a window that has a 2 to 3 year window. There is a very, very realistic world where in 3 calendar years from today, nobody wants either one. Like, that's a possibility. I'm not saying that one can't slip through and have another 4th year or something like that, but 3 calendar years from today, nobody would trade for either one. In fantasy, you couldn't get rid of them in a dynasty league if you wanted to, if you're trying to give them away practically. So things are going to happen pretty rapidly. They're going to age pretty quickly, Waddle and AJB in fantasy and in the NFL. But a team like Denver, who has a window right now, I understand why they are going after Waddle. And, he could be very solid in Denver, but Sutton's not somebody that you just nudge aside either, and I'm not saying Sutton's been amazing, but that's part of like the reason why I don't think we get too excited about Waddle's landing spot, because Sutton, I think, isn't somebody that like did badly. He's just in a volatile situation that doesn't consistently feed you the football. It's a wild offense. It's wild how they score. It's wild how they wait until the 4th quarter. Like, a lot of things happen with this offense that might change this year. Maybe they're very consistent throughout the entire 3-4 quarters leading into the 4th quarter. I think Sutton is a problem for Waddle becoming what a lot of people I think are going to hope he becomes. He's still going to be good. but they got a lot of mouths to feed, and Denver is a very unique team.
Yeah, I mean, like Sutton the past 2 years has gotten 124 and 135. So around that, people think Waddle's getting much more than that.
Yeah,
probably both be like 120 target guys.
And wouldn't you say that because Waddle is only getting that amount of targets as the solo guy, that expecting either one to probably be like stand above the other is kind of a tall order? Like, wouldn't you think that Sutton being the only big dog in Denver would mean he'd have like, he'd have overwhelming amount of target share, but he doesn't. So we'll see.
He hasn't had over 120 targets. He's rookie Waddle.
Yeah. Let me get these 3 super chats out of the way real quickly. Fresh dollar bill says Waddle's worth in Dynasty, Achane panic or hold. Achane's not a panic to me because I'm still banking on what Travis and I just talked about, that this team doesn't look better or doesn't look worse on paper if they grab Tate or Tyson. And I kind of feel like Lemon is somebody that they could grab. And Lemon, to me, isn't a horrible player by any means. He's just not the number 1 or number 2 receiver in this draft class. It doesn't mean he's not a good player to add. He kind of feels like a replacement of Waddle, whereas Tyson or Tate would be maybe a world star that you're putting on this roster. So Tyson, Achane, Willis will be incredible. And getting rid of Waddle leads the way to Tyson domination year 1. Tate, same thing. Love Tate in this situation. You put Mekhi Lemon here, then I'm not as excited, but I do think that this is probably the exact same as having Waddle there, and they have this pick here. So, I don't get why everybody's so down on the Dolphins, but Achane doesn't scare me. That's why we're wondering what in the hell that comment was referencing, like, Smitty, this guy just came in here and told you not to panic on Achane. What a moron! Smitty, you can't believe Smitty's saying this. Like, where do I sound like I'm panicked on Achane? Who said that my video on Achane, not panic on Achane, was not a valid video? Like, I still like Achane. I'm expecting the Dolphins to take a wide receiver. I don't think they're going to look any different in the wide receiver room with Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate at all. Now, if they don't draft Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate or Mekhi Lemon, and let's say, they could draft an amazing piece, but we'll see what they do at that pick. And they take Denzel Boston or Casey Concepcion at the 30 pick or something. Like, we'll see what happens. I'm not as excited about Achane or the Dolphins if they go that route, maybe. But I don't know. I mean, they could still bring in a Juwan Jennings, a Deebo Samuel. I'm not saying those are the greatest signings ever, but it's something. And who knows what they end up, doing. But Achane, if he gets traded, then what's the video look like? Are you going to come in, whoever's complaining and saying, this guy said don't panic on Achane? Are you going to come in and say, this guy said don't panic on Achane? Achane's now a Chicago Bear, and now all of a sudden he's going to the moon. It goes both ways, my boy. Thank you for the super chat. I would say Waddle's dynasty value feels very much like where DK Metcalf's dynasty value might be. I guess if I had to throw a couple. Yeah, I'd be selling the hell out of Waddle. If you kidding, Waddle got traded? Oh my God! Hey, yeah, Waddle's available. Thank you. Call me. Phone will be open. Phone lines will be open. I'd answer the call in the middle of the night. It wouldn't be one of those things where we'll talk about it in the morning. I get a call in the middle of the night. I pick up. I get it done. I'd be afraid they pull out. Would I put them around like Metcalf? I don't know. Would you rather have Alec Pearson dynasty or Waddle? Travis.
Alec Pierce, because he's getting a lot of targets.
Michael Wilson, I agree. Michael Wilson or Waddle?
Wilson.
DJ Moore or Waddle?
Waddle.
DJ Moore or Waddle? And you can laugh at that all you
Moore.
can laugh at that all you want.
More
But
because of the targets.
yeah, anybody that's laughing at DJ Moore versus Waddle, you've been waiting, you've been holding Waddle for 50 years, and you're like, this is it, this is time, saddle up, it's gonna be amazing. like it's
Here's how I look at it.
It's not bad, but DJ Moore could have just as many years of elite play as Waddle. Let's not act like Waddle's some spring chicken. Like DJ Moore, I'd rather have DJ Moore than Waddle. Go ahead, Bruce. What were you saying? You're live, by the way.
If I may look at it at a way that I guess is kind of dumb if you think about it, but who would I rather have throwing me the ball? Josh Allen or Bo Nix? I pick Josh Allen all day.
It's not a dumb way to look at it. It's a fantastic way to look at it.
Heart and age too. DJ Moore and Waddle.
Carnell Tate. Yeah, I know. Mike says Carnell Tate, Dolphins wide receiver 1, pick 11. That's what we're hoping it's Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate. That'd be an unbelievable landing spot now. Unbelievable.
I'm different on that, and here's why. I hope they take the deep, and then they'll take a receiver.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that, Bruce. Yeah, I'm not gonna argue with you on that one. In Dynasty, trade Sharps likely and a third for Waddle. Trade Sharps likely and a third. Yeah, I mean that's an example of where I'm not down on. I don't hate Waddle. That's not a bad move. I think you could argue either side. Like if Sharps takes over, you could regret. If he gets healthy and stays the starter, they don't draft. They're probably going to draft a rookie though. But at the same time, it's like give me the Waddle value if you need a wide receiver. So I'm fine with that trade. You already have Gadsden. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think that's good value for Waddle. That's normal value, normalized value for Waddle. That's not getting overly, excited or anything like that. So I like that. Thank you for the super chats, both of you, all three of you. And then I think we have one more super chat here from a $20 hauler from Joseph, dropping a wad on the screen. Joseph, thank you, pal.
Mashed potatoes.
Joseph, you monster, you. It's been 3 seasons since Waddle finishes a top 10 wide receiver. Joseph, preaching to the choir, my boy, tell him. Speak to him, Joseph. I'm high on this move for Waddle, going to be targeting him in redraft this year. Him and Sutton, I think, work well, but Harvey is the real winner of this, says Joseph. Joseph, thank you for the super chat. And again, I'm not a Waddle hater. I'm a Waddle realist. And you just saw that by somebody trading away Charbonnet likely in a third or whatever it was for Waddle. And I said, yeah, that's fine. That's perfect value. I could go either way, but that's the kind of trade you make. Waddle, you just can't expect him to be a top 5 to 7 wide receiver. He is DJ Moore, Waddle, Devontae Smith, DK Metcalf, Flowers, MHJ, like any one of those guys could outscore the other. Could Waddle be at the bottom of every name I just read? Could Ricky Pearsall outscore Waddle this year? Yes. Could Waddle be the number 1 wide receiver? This is where people are going to hear me. Eric, God, did you hear what he just said? Waddle could outscore every one of those wide receivers I just named. It's just one of those tiers. It's one of those tiers where Waddle could be anywhere in that range of outcomes. Anywhere in there. All right, back to Travis, then over to Brucey again. Go ahead, Travis.
So there's an Achane. I think that I'm obviously open the door to make it more likely that they trade him, unless they come out and say we're going like you said. Now this makes it even more likely that before, they obviously weren't going to be flop with number 11 or something like that. I don't think they wanted to flip that pick. So now I'll put some type of pick swap because they have the 30th swap with someone and get something on top of that. High second maybe. I just don't think they were going to get a top 15 or. This gives them actually a little more flexibility to move around trade too.
Let me ask you a question real quickly, though. Let's say you trade. What would you want for Achane? let's say Chicago offers the 25. Let's just say they only offered the 25 because he's a running back, but he should command that. He should command more than that. But let's just say he commands the 20. Let's say he commands the 25 overall from Chicago and a third rounder. I'm not saying you want to give up Achane necessarily, but would that be an acceptable maneuver if you?
In the situation there.
Okay, so now let me paint a picture for you. Jeremiah Love falls to 11. Now the Dolphins have Jeremiah Love. They replaced Achane with Jeremiah Love. They've got the 25 and the 30. I'm just saying, everybody acting like the Dolphins are complete morons here. I don't love Halfley, but just because they made this move doesn't mean they're mindless and they're continuing to go in this mindless direction. They very well could hold Achane, grab Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson, and they look like a better team. Or if they get rid of Achane, they still have moves to make. You don't know where Jeremiah Love's going to slide with this reorganization of necessity inside this top 10. Not to mention they could trade. Well, I was going to say, not to mention they could trade their 30 overall and their 11 overall and move up if they wanted, but I don't think they would.
But if they have the 25, you might be.
Why would
more flexibility? It fits their time clock because last year before.
Why
going to give him $15 million?
Right.
First year of a rebuild.
Why would Chicago offer that? Why would they not, T-Dog? The bigger question here is not why would they? Why would they not? That's the question. What are you talking about? Why would Chicago offer the 25 for Devon Achane? Do you know how much more dynamic the Chicago Bears are with Devon Achane versus the 25 overall pick? If Achane were in this draft, he wouldn't last to 25. Even if you took Achane, everything we know about him now, just like a rookie draft, if someone gets cut and they get thrown into the rookie pool, do you really believe Devon Achane as he stands today, if thrown into this pool of rookies, you don't think he goes before 25 overall? Come on, T-Dog.
Probably goes top 10.
He easily goes top 10, which means he's worth a top 10 pick, to be honest. So I think you meant it the other way. Why would the Dolphins accept just the 25 overall pick, I think is what you meant to say, which is okay. But, I mean, you get what I'm saying? Like, imagine Jeremiah Love at 11 and having 2 first-rounders, the Chicago Bears 25 and the 30 overall. You're kind of cooking. You're kind of doing some good work here on this rebuild. Now, you still got to land the 25 and the 30 overall pick, and it's kind of like a no man's land for wide receivers. There's so many of them, so you'd have to be careful not to burn one of those picks. But I mean, damn. And on top of that, like, again, I'm not suggesting that Deebo Samuel is the same player that he was, but I'm also feeling like, and I don't know if anybody else agrees with this, the Washington Deebo started out pretty decent in Washington, and then it kind of fell apart. But they didn't exactly use Deebo right, and they didn't really use anybody right. They didn't use Bill right. They didn't use Deebo right. Everything fell apart. So we really don't know how good Deebo was. And I'm not saying I like Ayuk, guys. I'm not, but Ayuk's available like for free. If the Dolphins were to, let's say, get Jeremiah Love, Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings, or Deebo Samuel, just get Niner players over, what happens then? Like, what are people saying about the Dolphins? And I'm not saying Ayuk is any sort of, locked to be in a good mind space or even be healthy or play well or whatever. But you give the Dolphins, even if they don't, let's say, make a Achane trade, they keep Achane, they bring in Ayuk, and then they have this 30 pick right here and this 11 pick. They keep Achane. So let's say they bring in Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson here. They bring in Ayuk, and then they have this 30 pick. That's a completely different looking team. And if they grabbed, let's say they traded Achane for the 25 and something, they grabbed Jeremiah Love, they brought in Ayuk, they brought in a Deebo or Jawan Jennings. They have the 25 and the 30 overall pick on top of Jeremiah Love and Ayuk. It's a completely different team. Like, you can't sit here and say the Dolphins are mindless. You know, they're doing something here. As much as I don't like Halfley's not the one making these moves. Halfley's the one probably giving some input, but you know, maybe Halfley surprises me too. Maybe he's a much better, you know, overall delegator in chief than I think. But all I know is that he folded and gave away a playoff win, and then he gets a head coaching job, and it just seemed out of place. But I mean, man.
Yeah, and someone mentioned it in the chat, and I was even saying on Patreon that, like, you know, even if it's for a year, Ollie and Jaylen Rice is not a bad thing somewhere else.
Yeah. And don't be surprised if Achane, now he'll go at less value. He will go at less value. If let's say Achane, okay, so let's say the Dolphins, Jeremiah Love falls to 11. And the only roadblocks for that are Tennessee, the Giants, which are, they're pretty big roadblocks. I mean, Jeremiah Love is more likely going at 4 than not going at 4 at this stage, if I had to guess. So Jeremiah Love goes at 4. If he falls past these two spots, it really is no man's land until we get to the 11 pick. And if they did take Jeremiah Love, they could make a draft day trade on Achane. He just might go at less of a cost because your back's against the wall, but they could set something up kind of in advance and just say, we'll pick up the phone if Jeremiah, or if the right players on the board, they probably wouldn't telegraph it. The right players on the board will call you up and you can have Achane, and Chicago would gladly still take him. They're not going to be like, oh, we're not taking Achane now because you're going to get Jeremiah Love. They're just going to be like, give us Achane, we'll take him at 20 for 25. So there's a world where this happens later. You know, Achane gets moved later. He doesn't have to get moved today. I know everybody expects that if Achane's going to move, it's going to happen in 24 hours because Waddle just got traded. This could be a later trade. Achane could be a draft day trade. There are always big name players.
A lot of times.
Yeah, because then you know what you're dealing with. You know, like the Dolphins know what they're getting at 11 to make the decision of whether to move on from Achane. If Jeremiah Love's there at 11, I'm trading Achane if I'm the Dolphins. Just because I'd rather have Love in the 25 than have just Achane, because you're resetting the odometer. And while I love Achane, Love is a different type of running back for what I believe this team is building. You know, I think Achane will survive nicely in Miami until he's gone. But I do believe that it could be something completely different. But I think, and I guess what I wanted to talk about more was what this means for A.J. Brown. Because Waddle being traded, I think it could have one or two effects. One, it makes the other teams in not only the conference, but even across stream as well. But let's stay in conference here and just say that you have, you know, a situation where the Dolphins, or shall I say, the Broncos are getting a weapon. The Buffalo Bills are getting a receiving weapon. The Patriots are sitting there stagnant, and they might be happy with Dobbs, but this is where they're going to take a big L on the season, is if they think that is going to compete with these moves that Denver and the Bills just made. But, you know, you got to ask yourself, and the Chiefs getting Walker, I mean, just everybody's leveling up. New England standing flat-footed, and they got rid of Diggs, replaced him with Dobbs. That is just staying flush. They haven't done any upgrading at all. They just replaced Diggs, essentially. So you got to think that they're more pressured to make this A.J. Brown across the pond move. But you also wonder, because like I said, this could go one of two ways. It could go either way. Do the Eagles now say, Buffalo's got a wide receiver? Now Denver's got a wide receiver. Chargers are going to be dangerous. The Chiefs just got Kenneth Walker. Do we actually get rid of talent? You know, because our advantage is our arsenal of weaponry, which we haven't used properly. We're hoping the new offensive coordinator changes will change that. But you got to wonder if the Eagles pull out of making an AJB trade because they're looking at all this additional talent being added to the rival, you know, squads that they're worried about. Rams looking to add AJB. That would be a tough trade to see happen because, you know, it could happen, but I could see them being like, we don't want to give the Rams AJB. But AJB, Travis, do you think he's more likely to get traded because the New England Patriots say, damn it, we got to do something? Or are the Eagles more likely to say, never mind, we better not do something? What do you think's more likely, or what do you think's happening?
I think the only way he doesn't get traded is if for some reason the Eagles look at this Waddle trade and raise the price.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I can't say for sure, but the first and the third is still coming up and keeps coming up with different writers and people from around the Patriots are talking about it. And I think it's a staring contest for that, and I think the Patriots would end up coming up to that.
Well,
I think the problem will be if now, because of the Waddle deal, they say, no, we don't want to do that, which we talked about was a risk, and that's why I think the Patriots should have just done it. But
and A.J. Brown is right here, Waddle's down here.
I want to move him.
Anybody thinks Waddle's better than A.J. Brown, I got a bridge to sell you. A.J. Brown's up here, Waddle's down here. If Waddle just got a first and a third, or just went for a first and a third, the asking price for Philly is now set in stone, or it goes up, like Travis just said. You can't expect to give a second rounder for AJ Brown. You're having to give up a first rounder and something to get AJ Brown. That just got cemented into place by the Waddle trade.
Yeah, and actually, Waddle signed the extension. He is making a good amount of money. I can't say much about.
No.
You know, or less. He's got to go for more.
Yeah, he's got to go for at least the same, but probably more. And so that begs the question: does a team like New England say, "No, we weren't really only going to do the second round"? It's like, oh my God, like what do you expect to do? Big L for the season. You're not going to go pay the price, go get him. Waddle just set the market. You cannot negotiate this anymore. You cannot try and get a late one, and like especially when you look at the pick. Okay, now granted, what's really good about this situation is that the pick that just got traded was the 30, and the pick that the New England Patriots have is the 31. So the market value is very similar. If let's say Waddle was traded in the 24, 25, or 26 pick was traded, then you have a discrepancy between those, and then it's going to be a different price. But at least you can say, look, Waddle just went for the 30 and a third rounder essentially with all the pick swapping. So this is the same price, same price tag. You want AJ Brown, you got to pay that, and you have nothing you can say. And if New England sits on their hands, it's their own fault.
Yeah, 100%. Yep, I agree.
But I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, I've been telling you AJ Brown's nearly as good as gone and has been for the entire offseason. But like I said, all it takes is a team to just, like New England, to not know what time it is, and the whole thing falls apart. What's the issue with New England's front office? You just made the Super Bowl. Your elite QB is a rookie on a rookie deal, and your biggest hole is wide receiver. Why do you keep waiting? Mike, first of all, thank you for the super chat, but your question, standing ovation, your question is the one I've been asking for months, Mike, and Travis is as well. Even though Travis is a big New England Patriots supporter, he often says they do need to get AJ Brown. They do need to make a move. He isn't pretending that Dobbs is fully the answer. We like Dobbs a lot, but he's not. He just replaces Diggs. If you fell short in the Super Bowl because your elite, amazing quarterback struggled so badly because there's no one helping him, and everybody's ripping on Drake May. Drake May was going in the third round on Underdog promo code Smitty. Drafted us at midnights using code Smitty. He was going in the third round on Underdog, walking out of like the Super Bowl. Like initially when drafts were already going. This is where May was. I forget when they initiated drafts. Wasn't it like before the Super Bowl? I believe it was. And so we were drafting. Yeah, they launched fantasy football before the Super Bowl had ended. And Drake May was going in the 3rd round. And then when the Super Bowl concluded, now Drake May goes in like 5-6, right? You know, what do you think's going on there? Everybody knew how good Drake May was. He was going in the 3rd round. But because he fell flat on his face, not his fault, now all of a sudden he's a 6th round steal. And if Drake May gets A.J. Brown, guess where Drake May's going? Up. Probably 4th round. Maybe he climbs back into 3, but he's going to go in the 4th round, somewhere around 4 if he gets A.J. Brown. So start scooping up your Drake May 6th round shares while you can on Underdog, because it ain't lasting. But you asked the question I've been asking forever, Mike. Go ahead, Travis. I'm sorry, and then I'll go over to Bruce.
No, and like
Rumble. Appreciate you, Rumble.
people are saying in the chat, like, oh, you got to build through the draft, you know, when I came up these picks and stuff. But, like, Patriots specifically, but any other team you could talk about too, I've built through the draft. You know, when a piece like an AJB is sitting right there and that is the missing piece, then you make a big move. Be willing to make those moves to supplement everything else you've built around it. And you just almost never, I would say, can you draft it? Never making a big trade, never money.
Yeah, I agree. Bruce, you got anything else, bro?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you this. If it's true, and I can't say it's true, that the Bills were offered the same deal for Waddle, and they didn't take it, and they went with the Moore route instead, who made out better?
Well, like I said, I know people are going to act like this is a crazy take for whatever reason, and honestly, I could give 2 craps about what people think about my take. My take is my take. I'd rather have DJ Moore than Jaylen Waddle, and in fantasy, because he gets Josh Allen. Now, if I'm trying to like say, would I rather send Waddle to Buffalo or Moore to Buffalo? Like, if we want to really put some restraints on this experiment and control all the variables, would I rather have Moore in Buffalo or Waddle in Buffalo? I'll be honest, you know, Waddle in Denver is lesser than DJ Moore in Buffalo. But if both of them were in Buffalo and it's controlled like that, I think there's a world where I could argue either. I don't know that I have a set answer yet. I think I'd have to really stew on it. But right now,
both of them together?
No. Just one. Like if I'm trying to really evaluate which one would be better with Josh Allen to prove which one's better, because then you're controlling the experiment. Yeah, like that's where in controlled environment like that, Waddle might be a better option because he's a little younger, but not much. But it's just a little bit more controlled experiment would maybe have Waddle. Yeah, he might have Waddle coming out of my mouth might say Waddle, but with what we have in front of us, yeah, DJ Moore in Buffalo is better than Waddle in Denver because that's the reality of the situation. It's not, we can't sit here and do these hypotheticals really anymore. I mean, we can, they're fun, but it's not going to happen. Like DJ Moore's in Buffalo, Waddle's in Denver. Who's the better fantasy football option? Probably DJ Moore. Who's the better receiver right now with the fit? Probably DJ Moore, because we can't play the other game. The game's fun to play, but Waddle's not going to be a Bronco or a Bill. He's going to be a Bronco. And Nix is erratic. I like him. Nix gets a lot better. We haven't even really discussed Nix yet. We can do that real quick. Nix gets better. The Broncos get better, but Nix is erratic. Sutton's been really by far the best receiver in that wide receiver room. What's Sutton been doing? Like, why does everybody think Sutton just got bad all of a sudden? Sutton's a good player. Sutton hasn't been thriving with what should be massive domination of the target share. But Sutton lives in a volatile environment with a volatile quarterback that tends to wait until late in the games to get cooking. Maybe that changes, but now you don't have that ability to even measure that anymore because now you got 2 mouths to feed. So even if Nix does get more consistent, Now it's just too crowded for either one to probably be better than DJ Moore. DJ Moore is better than Waddle, most likely. It's a debate. And could I change my mind in week 3? Sure. It's close. I mean, it's not like something where one's crushing the other. But I think DJ Moore is vastly underrated in Denver or in Buffalo. As for,
And if you're the
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead real quick.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if you're the Vikings, you picking up the phone since it looks like it's a firehouse sale, and you want pick 18 for Achane?
Yes. I would surrender pick 18 for Achane if I'm the Minnesota Vikings. Now, you might not have to give up the third rounder and all the other stuff. If it's the 18 overall, you could probably get away with that straight 1-for-1. Or, there could be some other swaps that are, hard to even measure, that go on. But if you're the Vikings, you definitely give up the 18 for Achane. And if you're the Dolphins, you're taking that trade if Jeremiah Love falls. So maybe it's a draft day trade. Because you give me 18 and Jeremiah Love, I'm taking that. That's fantastic. And you might even be able to move the 18 back up to get Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine surrendering a second or third rounder or whatever, getting 18 as the Dolphins, moving it back up to right around 11 or 10, getting Jeremiah Love, getting Jordan Tyson? What kind of team would you have with Malik Willis, Jordan Tyson, and Jeremiah Love? I would be cooking with all of this. You gave me all this, I would have, if you gave me what the Dolphins have right now, I'd either have Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate with Achane, or I'd have Jeremiah Love, and I'd trade Achane to get picks and move the picks up to get Jordan Tyson or Sadiq. I would be cooking.
Multiple seconds, third, fourth now, and I think they have 11 total picks, something like that. So they have tons of flexibility to move up.
Yeah. I mean, you technically, if you said Smitty, make it happen, I could do it. I could take Jeremiah Love at 11 if he fell. I could move 18 up to get Jordan Tyson, and then I could move 30 by using future picks. Move 30 up and grab Sadiq. What about your defense, Smitty? I'd have Sadiq, Jordan Tyson, Jeremiah Love, Malik Willis. It wouldn't be that hard to do. It wouldn't be that hard. You have so many picks. You could easily maneuver that slightly. You could just keep nudging things up. It'd be easy. Imagine if that happened. As far as Bo Nix, real quick, I'll just say that Bo Nix is definitely increasing value. Gets another target. Bo Nix finishes QB what last year? Benji, thank you for the super chat.
He was like 5 or 6.
Yeah, I mean,
or 7 or something.
I'll be honest. I don't know that he was.
7.
I don't know he's going to exactly repeat that number. So like this might put him right back in that range for me. Like having him be like 6 to 9, it's probably going to float in there. I mean, he's really good.
He was 8 in Marvin.
I'd say it locks him into the top 10 to 11, top 8 to 11. I mean, he's a good QB. He's erratic, but he's still growing. He's still maturing. He might get a lot more. Remember how erratic Josh Allen was? I mean, Josh Allen was notorious for just throwing games away consistently. Sometimes still does it, but Josh Allen's honed in on his craft. Like Bo Nix is a dog. Bo Nix loves that you don't love him. Bo Nix loves that the doubt is there. The doubt doesn't get to Bo Nix. It feeds Bo Nix. Bo Nix is just a competitive dog. Achane for 1.3 and 27 second. Absolutely not, bro. The 1.3, I love the receivers, but again, you don't even know. It could be one of Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson McKyleman that landed in a good spot. The other two could be in horrible spots. And even if, let's say, you guarantee me Tate and Tyson are in good spots, I want Achane over the 3 pick. A 27 second can kick rocks, bro. I could care less about the 27 second. You could give me the 1.3, the second, and the 1.6 for Achane, and I'm going to tell you to go kick rocks. There's no way. The 1.6 is okay. You could get like Tate and Sadiq, and I like that, but I'm not giving Achane away, personally. Be different if it was like the 1.2 and the 1.3, and we had that debate the other night, and even then it's hard to do something like that, but you probably would have to strongly consider it if you're in rebuild mode. But the 1.6, you don't know what you're going to get. If Sadiq goes to the most elite spot, he's going number 4 or 5 overall. So it's not like the 1.6 even guarantees you Sadiq if he's in an elite situation. All right, let me go back over to Bruce and close it out, then over to Travis, close it out, and then we'll be out of here and we'll be back later. Go ahead, Brucey.
My final opinion is this, and this is just my opinion. Maybe because Vrabel coached AJB, and I believe he did, he knows what kind of guy he is, and he just doesn't want him in the locker room.
No, he loves him.
Yeah,
He does. He wanted him.
It's a sound.
He said he wanted him, and he was pissed when the Titans traded.
Bruce, it's a sound theory. In theory, it sounds logical, but you got to remember that this is a guy that had Stephon Diggs tamed, and Stephon Diggs loved him. And the one thing about Vrabel, I'll say, even though I can't stand the way Vrabel has attacked the running situation, and there's a lot of things that I don't love about Vrabel, to be honest. I feel like I like Vrabel a lot in some ways, and then in other ways, he pisses me off. One thing is the players love him. He's a player's coach. Every player loves him. And AJB would be wonderfully behaved. Diggs loved him, bro. And Vrabel's so easy to mesh with like that. Like, I mean, look at Cardi B, all this stuff. Vrabel's, dapping him up on the sideline. Like, Diggs and Vrabel were like peas and carrots, bro. So it's the same thing's going to happen with AJB, and he loves AJB. This is why I don't understand why this isn't getting done. It might just be delayed, and we go, okay. Patriots ended up getting it done after all. Patriots, big W. I hope we're in here celebrating that. I hope we are, and we might be.
Couldn't have gotten done until they signed Goddard. So
right
now the clock's ticking.
Correct. And the Goddard deal, for anybody that doesn't know about that situation, the way that happened was, for anybody like, they have AJB that if they trade away, they get hit with a tremendous amount of dead cap hit that they can't afford if Goddard was not signed. Goddard was, if he was not re-signed on the 1-year deal, it would have been $20 million on the books. But now they're able to sign Goddard to a 1-year deal, and then they're able to move that hit to future years. And now AJB, if they're able to trade him, they can afford to take this hit. You might say, well, why would they want to take the hit at all? Because they're buying the window right now. They're trying to get a draft pick in this draft so they can improve their team today to win a Super Bowl. And they believe they're not getting the most out of AJB. AJB believes they're not getting the most out of him. He almost headbutted Sirianni on live television in the embarrassing playoff loss. So Sirianni wants him gone. You can now afford to throw this money away on the dead cap because Goddard's money got moved downstream. This move was to allow this opportunity to happen. And they wanted to keep Goddard. But you could also say they could have let Goddard go, re-signed AJB, and tried to do a similar thing, but he's more important. Goddard, they believe, is a priority. And Hurts loves to underhand granny throw touchdown passes to this guy. We don't know what Hurts can do with AJB. So AJB is probably headed elsewhere. Now, the one thing that's going to stand in the way, and it's been the crutch of the entire situation, is asking price. And if the Eagles say we're not budging, and I understand now that price tag is a first rounder, potentially a third rounder as well. That's what AJB will cost. Why? Because that's what Waddle just got. And the market is the market. This is what the market value is. Now, if New England says we're going to give a second rounder, AJB ain't going anywhere. If they say, oh, we're just going to do the 31 overall pick, maybe the Eagles fold because they want to get it done, but this likely still isn't going to get it done. You're going to have to give a third or a fourth rounder because that's what was commanded for Waddle. So New England's got to step up. The Eagles can't be held responsible for everything. They got to have somebody that's willing to pay the price. And all the teams, as they fill their voids, are getting knocked off, and there's not as many competitive options to compete for this A.J. Brown market. So now you have the Patriots probably saying, well, you have less suitors now, so we're going to go ahead and try and play hardball. You can't do that, or the Eagles, out of principle, are going to say, we're not trading him. So New England's got to step up and pay the price. And if they do, we'll be in here celebrating. It seems inevitable. You have the ties to Vrabel. You have the need for A.J. Brown. You have the desire to trade A.J. Brown. And you have a price tag and market that just got set with Waddle. This couldn't be more mapped out if we tried. But will these teams screw it up? Maybe. But the price has been set. The stage of where AJB can go couldn't be more mapped out and perfect. And the Eagles don't want him. It should happen. It should happen. Will it happen? I don't know. I can't control that. But it should happen. New England should have him by the end of the week. He should.
He said he wants to go to New England. Like, there's no excuse unless the
Zero.
Patriots. Or I mean, I guess I'll leave room for the Eagles upping the asking price of something ridiculous, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, boys. I'll be back. I'll be back when Achane gets traded to the Chicago Bears later today. Or I'll be back when
Minnesota.
Yeah, or the Vikings. I'll be back when maybe the Dolphins say they're not trading him. Who knows? What?
I called it the Achane brothers, and it was a picture of each Devon coming around, and they did the thing like the AR-5 and.
There are two. We should make a video of that. There are two Achanes. Crossing streams. All right, Bruce. We'll see you later. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Hold on. Schefter just said something new. If the Eagles were to trade A.J. Brown prior to June 1st, Philly would take a dead cap hit of $40 million in 2026. By waiting until June 1st, the dead cap incurred would drop below $20 million, which it's an important note that we've known. The problem is you don't get the draft capital now. So trading A.J. Brown, prior to June 1, it makes sense because you're trying to build your windows closing, all that. If you're waiting until later, it doesn't really, what are you doing? You're going in a future pick for A.J. Brown? I don't think they're interested in that.
Keep hearing reports from just nobody. Oh, they probably want 2027 pick because that draft's better, but players that they could use.
Yeah. For anybody confused by why I had A.J. Brown around those teams, those were Achane's landing spots. I just put AJB up for a second and it looked confusing. So there it is. Chicago, Jacksonville, Seattle, Chargers, unfortunately. Those are all Achane landing spots. All right. Anything else, Travis?
Two quick things. One, Eagles signed Hollywood Brown. And that has nothing to do with A.J. Brown, if anyone's wondering. That's basically replacing Dotson.
Yeah, not. Yeah, they don't care.
I'm better than Dotson right now. He had 500 yards or something like that.
He ain't holding back nothing.
Not close.
The Gunner Player of the Week. Brought to you by
Hold on one second,
Gunner.com.
Travis. Hold on 1 second. I hit a button. I'm going to switch my gunners out real quick anyway. Okay, Travis, sorry. Now I can hear you.
Someone was asking, what if Adrian gets traded to Seattle or the Giants? Now, Seattle would be great. And I don't see the Giants making a move for him, but they've been on a running back.
Yeah, they could be. I mean, we have Seattle on screen. We have Chicago on screen. We got the Jaguars on screen. We got the Chargers on screen. All very viable landing spots, regardless of the hatred we'd have for the Chargers if they did this. I think the Giants are in play for sure. Unfortunately, they go with the Chargers. Unfortunately, in play. I don't know how likely they are to give up, the draft capital that would command versus they're trying to sign Etienne as a free agent. They're trying to sign Walker as a free agent, and they're trying to draft Jeremiah Love, with the draft capital that they have. I don't know that the Giants are surrendering picks to get somebody when they can just draft Jeremiah Love, maybe. So that would be my take on that, but anything can happen.
And just last thing, and I'll jump on Malik Willis. Someone was asking about it in the Patreon. I just think it's a good thing to bring up. Superflex, like, what would you give up for him? Obviously, any second round pick, right?
What
would you give up
for Malik Willis? Yeah. And a Superflex, I'd probably give up even like a 1.10, 1.9, 1.11.
Like, all right, late first.
Probably. In a Superflex, probably. I mean, it's a gamble, but
yeah, but like we talked about, if they were to take someone at 11, H. Tyson, I think they're back in the same boat. Like you said, they could also easily take someone there inside Jennings, Diggs. There's a bunch of.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll see you later. We'll be back, I'm sure, with another live stream. So appreciate you. Later, bro.
Bye.
All right. Guys, thank you for the super chats. Appreciate you, Mike. Appreciate you, Benji. Benji with the Achane question. Mike with another question. Joseph with a $20 hauler. Shell, appreciate you. Fresh, appreciate you. Fresh dollar bill. Appreciate all my rumblers over on Rumble, from Landman to Bullfrog to 420 Man to Aldi. Appreciate all my rumblers. We're at 6.74K over on Rumble. We're almost at 7K. Anybody drops that $500 Rumble wallet tip via BTC, the Rumble show begins right away. Otherwise, we wait till 10K to start the Rumble show. Coach, you got these glasses, right? Coach, how do you liking these glasses, bro? Did I lie, or did I tell the truth when I said that they fit unbelievably? Like the way that these glasses fit, they're so smooth, man. They feel solid. They feel like a space shuttle on your face, but like they're light. It's amazing material that these Onyx glasses are on. Gunners love them. Gunner.com, link in description. Best fantasy football show in the world. Thank you, Hybrid. Appreciate you. Is Coach still there? All right, guys, I'll be back. Appreciate every single one of you. Live whenever news breaks. Don't forget to get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com. Year-round rankings, bold predictions, trade calculators, draft simulator, stock market, brand new stock market, all the bold predictions, that draft calculator, trade calculator. Nobody has a trade calculator like your boy. Your boy came into the business in 2002 because I couldn't find a trade calculator in the industry. So I said, screw it, I'll do it myself. I've been tweaking and changing it and upgrading it all these years. The trade calculator's never been more enhanced. It's got multiple levels of logic, and gives you different answers and different logic than, do the trade, not do the trade. I'll tell you all kinds of insights and stuff with it. And it's all instant based. You just click the players, hit submit. You don't have to insert rosters or scoring. You can change it on PPR scoring, half PPR, or non-PPR scoring for your trade, though. So go check it out. I got a lineup analyzer, same thing. PPR, half PPR, non-PPR. Week one projections are already up, so the lineup analyzer works for week one. Go check it out. Live when big news breaks. Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and live at midnight Eastern almost every single night. Appreciate you, Hybrid. Thank you for dropping that super chat. Appreciate all you. Thank you again, Joseph, for the $20 hauler. See you all for the next breaking news show that probably will be before the 8 p.m. show tonight.